minute, now I'm back with the jump off.
Hello, my loves. We are back. Welcome to another episode of Tea Time with TT's podcast. I'm your host, TT, Coach TT now to you guys. It's been so long. I'm so happy to be back. Okay. Now we're going to get started with this new vibe. Okay. The new energy of Tea Time with TT's 2023, revamping. And we're going to get started with this new segment or this new episode that I got that I'm going to start doing called Tea Time with TT's Story Time. I'm going to give you guys some story because TT been through a lot, honey. Okay. TT has been through a lot. So we're going to go ahead and give you a little story time about that. So grab yourself something to sip on, pull up a chair, a pen and a piece of paper, because I'm going to school you real quick, as well as maybe some popcorn or some kind of snack or something like that. We're going to get into it, okay? I want to go ahead and tell you guys now to make sure you like, share, subscribe, and comment. And if you want to purchase any of my conjure oils, candles, classes, coaching sessions, readings, whatever it is, you can go to iamtoyatarot.com. So I am Toya Tarot, INC.com. Okay, guys, let's get into it. Okay, so I hope y'all ready. We're going to go ahead and get started with this story time. Okay, so like I said before, we're going to talk about the story time where my grandmother taught me how to do an exorcism and a banishing of my first husband. If you have not already, I want you guys to make sure you pay attention to the trigger warning that I placed before, because basically if you've been through any kind of abuse, if you've been through any kind of violation of any sorts, if you've been through any of those things, this is probably not something that you should be listening to unless you are absolutely ready to face that and work on some healing from that. I do not want to trigger anybody. I don't want anyone to feel any kind of way from the story. So I am very, very, very cognizant of that because there's too much triggering going on nowadays on these social media streets, and tea time will not be one of them. Okay, so give you a couple minutes, make sure you decide what it is that you want to do, and let's get started. Hey guys, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Okay, first of all, I'm so glad to have you guys back. Before I get started with the story, I want to make sure you all are making sure you are like, share, and subscribe to this page. We're going to have a lot of amazing content, a lot of encouraging content, a lot of content that's going to make you think and grow and heal and find peace and forgiveness and happiness. And so I want to make sure that this is gets to all of the ears and the eyes that it needs to get to. I'm going to lotion my hands because I'm feeling real ashy. Okay. So like I said, make sure you guys are liking, sharing, and subscribing, and make sure you comment and interact. You never know who you'll be able to help in the comments. You never know who you'll be able to encourage in the comments, as well as you might gain and find that as well. So it's important to interact. Okay, so let's get started. So basically, we're going to be talking about the time where my grandmother taught me how to cast out exorcise some demons that was attached to my ex-husband, as well as banish it from myself and my home. I'm going to provide you some context. I'm going to try to be as respectful as possible or as gentle as possible because this is a very touchy subject. I've been through it. I've done a lot of healing for it. And healing is a lifelong journey. And I understand that some people might not be where I am regarding situations like this. But I was instructed by Spirit to tell it in an effort to help somebody else be okay with what they might be going through. So let's get started. I first got married to this husband when I was 17 years old. Okay. You're looking at a teen mom. So I had my daughter when I was 16. And I then married someone who I thought was a friend. It wasn't my oldest daughter's father, but I thought was a very close friend of mine. And I am in the community, guys. So he knew about me being gay and all of that. So I thought it was like a perfect thing. I didn't really have to hide who I was or anything like that, which I never had. I was always had an issue with that. So, I thought that he just accepted me for who I was. And I wanted to be out of my mom's house. So I was like, I gotta go. You know what I'm saying? There was some things happening there, but we won't even, really speak on that because, yeah. But I wanted to move out. It was getting very cramped. I was a young mom. I'm trying to raise my daughter. I'm in the house with my mom and my sister, and I just felt like it was time for me to branch out for whatever reason. So I talked my mom into signing for my marriage because I was 17. I was underage. So I talked my mom into signing for me to get married to him. And yeah, so I got married to him. And the day that I got married to him, if you know me or you follow me on any of my social media, my grandmother was a very, very big part of my spiritual growth and evolution or understanding my spiritual gifts. So the day I got married to him, my grandmother said, God told me to tell you not to ever let him change your daughter's diaper. Don't let him babysit her. Don't let him bathe her or anything like that. I'm from Mississippi. So if you're from Mississippi, you know that most times the mother does not let the father handle any of those hygiene issues, any of those personal matters when it comes to little girls. For the reason of, basically how unfortunately a lot of kids get violated, by people that they know, which is horrible. But, so I didn't think anything of it. I grew up where you couldn't sit on your daddy's lap. You couldn't sit on any man's lap. You couldn't stand in between any man's legs, things like that. So when she said that to me, I didn't really think anything of it. I just knew that I was to listen because my grandmother was very, 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 very intuitive, very much a prophetess, didn't identify herself as one. But if she told you something, it was going to happen. So I was like, okay, grandma, no problem. Went on, got married, moved out, got my own place. It wasn't very far from my mom. It was, I rented the lower floor of the house that we stayed in. It was apartments in the house. So I rented the lower floor and I was down there with my husband, who later began doing a lot of cheating. He did a lot of cheating. I caught him with he was cheating on me with about 9 people. And we'll get into that story time later, honey, because my level of petty back then was unmatched. But we're not going to go into that one. That'd be another story time, honey. But I caught him with about 9 women. So I immediately stopped being intimate with him. Immediately. Wasn't having it. Get out of here. Like, whatever. I don't want you touching me. Whatever you're doing, go do it. Like, so about this time I was 18. And me and him, even though we were not in that aspect of like the romantic part of the marriage anymore, we were very close. Like I thought that we were very close as friends, right? So I thought we were very close as friends. So, I still would hang out with him sometimes. I had a girlfriend. He knew I had a girlfriend. She would come over. Everything would be cool, braid his hair and go on about, he would do whatever the hell he was doing. I mean, whatever that was. And so everything seemed fine. So we had some neighbors. It was like a frat house or whatever, living next door to us. And we, they kept inviting us over. My ex-husband used to smoke weed very heavily, probably to sedate him, which I'm now absolutely sure that's what it was. But he would smoke very heavily. And they had a bong there. So, of course, he's like, yo, come on, let's go over there. Let's go over there. Let's go over here. By this time, I'm about, I'll say 18 years old. I go over there. I don't smoke. That's not my thing. I've always been a medium, and spirits talk to me even more if I was high. I tried it. It wasn't a movement for me. I was like, no, man, we're not doing that. Okay, I got enough problems. We don't need no more. So I didn't do the bong thing. He was smoking with them. So he asked me, do I want to drink? Now, I did start drinking at about 16. After I had my daughter, everybody was like, oh, you grown, whatever. You can have something to drink. So, I was like, okay, fine. He gives me a shot of tequila. I never really drank tequila before, but I was like, oh, okay, because I was a Bacardi kind of girl. Coconut rum and pineapple juice, like, a little frilly stuff. Maybe a Long Island iced tea, but nothing, nothing too crazy. So I was like, okay, it was a shot of tequila. He's like, take a shot. He goes, he gets the shot, he comes back. I take the shot. One shot. That's all I remember taking. So then I remember pretty much nothing else except for getting up, trying to go down to my apartment, which was right across the way, and seeing the grass. Boom, I hit the grass. Next morning, I wake up. I threw up everywhere. My hair was matted to my head. My hair was about this length, and it was straightened. And so my hair was like curled to my head, and I'm like in a lot of pain. I'm like sick. I'm throwing up green stuff. And I'm like, what the heck happened to me? Like, I only had one shot. He's like, no, you had 8. You had 8 shots. You didn't have one shot. You had 8 shots. And I'm like, no, I didn't. So he then says, oh yeah, and then you wanted to be intimate. You wanted to do something with me. And that hasn't happened in like 8 months. I was like, oh, word. I said, so you did something with me while I was unconscious and throwing up. Oh yeah, and I threw you in a tub of cold water because I was like, oh, I think you had alcohol poisoning. So I'm like, annoyed. I'm like, something's going on. I didn't know what at the time. So I go upstairs. I'm sick. My mom and my sister are like making fun of me. My mother's like, newly saved. So you know what newly saved is like. So they be judging people just for the fun of it. So she was like, look at her, just drinking and da da da. My grandmother said, you don't know what that girl's going through. Leave her alone. You used to be drinking not too long ago. So remember where you come from. Like, you don't get to judge people. So I go downstairs. I start like I start going on hunger strike because prior to that, he starts beating me. He doesn't want me to go to work. So he's like punching my legs until I could barely stand. And he doesn't want me to go anywhere because basically I found out he's cheated. So he's scared that I'm going to go and do what he did. So it was just really hard in that household. I was having visitations from demons trying to pry my legs apart, trying to choke me and suffocate me and all kinds of stuff. I had to turn my body over into the side of the bed and like inhale really deeply and call on Jesus to get them to flee from me and everything. So I was having a rough time, honey. I was like maybe 125 soaking wet. And I had got down to 99 pounds. I stopped eating because I was telling everybody he was doing it and nobody believed me because he was so high. Like, he would, like, it seemed like he would not even kill an ant. Like, that's how he was so like docile because he was zooted, okay? But nobody knew that. So I'm like losing weight. I'm not eating. I won't leave my daughter down there. Like I told, because he tried to raise my daughter as his own. But I would not leave my daughter down there because now I know what you're capable of because you essentially violated me because I was not conscious. So how did I tell you we was going to do something? So I'm like, you know what, whatever. I get upstairs and I'm like asking my mom for a plate. And she's like, you didn't cook nothing. I said, I'm not eating down there with him. And she was like, girl, what's going on? I said, I'm not like, I don't want to, and I was like, I keep telling y'all he's doing stuff to me and nobody's listening. So she's like, that boy would not hurt a fly. Like, what? He don't even raise his voice, blah, blah, like thinking that's what it is. So I'm like, stressed out, depressed. One day I'm in the house, I'm, cleaning up. He's gone, fake at work like he always was. Okay. Because he had a whole nother apartment on the other side of town, bringing his side pieces there. Everybody was like younger than me, and I was like 17, almost 18. So my grandmother calls random, but my grandmother used to pray for all of us every morning. She would have like a prayer and prayer session. She would go to her altar, pray for other people that was sick and shut in, and pray for her grandchildren and her children and things like that. So she says to me, God told me that boy is hurting you. I was praying and God told me that boy is hurting you. Is he hurting you? And she said, you don't have to say it out loud. Is he there? I said, no, he's not here. She said, is he hurting you? I said, yes, ma'am. She said, he has a demon on him and he got to get out your house because he gonna leave you alone. So I said, I don't know what to do. I keep telling him to leave. He won't leave. Like nobody believes me when I tell him what he's doing. She said, that's all right, baby. I'm gonna tell you what to do. And I'm gonna call you back. You go and you get you a Bible, Old Testament, and you go and you get you and you got that blessed oil I gave you. So my grandmother used to make blessed oil. My grandmother used to conjure what I now know as conjure, but she would pray over olive oil and things like that. So the family would, go get it. I was using it a lot because I always used it. I always would cleanse my house because I saw spirits and I wanted, and my daughter did. So I was like, no, I wanted to be calm in the home. So of course I had the oil on deck, honey. So I didn't just start with conjure oil. I basically been using it, from, I want to say 12, and I'm 40 years old now. So I do that. She calls me back and she tells me, now y'all, this is where y'all need a pen and a piece of paper. Okay. She says he has a demon on him. You got to get him out of your house. And she was like, so listen carefully to what it is that I'm saying for you to do. Write it down, whatever you got to do. But after you write it down, burn it. After you do what I tell you to do, burn the piece of paper that shows it, flush it down the toilet. I said, okay. Now, mind you, I grew up cultured, honey. Church of God in Christ. Shout out to Little Zion, aka Zion Cathedral. But I grew up that way. So I didn't think, I'm like, okay, scripture, blessed oil. Okay. I'm thinking she's gonna have me pray, whatever. I didn't know anything about the spiritual things that I know now, that she has transformed into spirit form, where she is now showing me different things and why we did certain things. So I didn't say nothing, I sat down and I listened. And what she told me was, y'all better have your pen. She said, get a blessed oil, get a Bible. That is new, that you do not have to use, don't use your prayer Bible, don't use your Bible that you write your prayers in, use a brand new Bible. I said, okay. She said, rip out Psalms 91. Y'all listening? Rip out Psalms 91, Psalms 37, the 23rd Psalms, and Psalms 105 and 15. Put it under the mattress where he lays. Put it under the pillow where he lays. Put some scriptures under there. Put some going all the way down from where his head is all the way to his feet. Put the scripture there. Y'all listening? Psalms 91. Y'all can go back and read them. I'm telling y'all, I encourage y'all to read these scriptures. Psalms 91, Psalms 37, 23rd Psalms, and Psalms 105 and 15. She said, after you do that, take your blessed oil and anoint above his head on the bed, on the dashboard, on the headboard and on the wall, anoint the bottom of the bed, anoint that his side of the bed over on the bottom part there, and then pour some blessed oil in his food and pray over that. I said, okay. She said, once he eats the food, he is going to let out a belch. She said, don't be scared. That's that demon leaving his body. So I was like, I'm sitting here like, okay. Now, mind you, she said, do not cross over his side of the bed. Once you put the scriptures there, do not cross over his side of the bed, because that is not for you. That is for him. Get into your bed, your side of the bed from the bottom, and climb into your side of the bed. Do not cross him at any point. Don't do it. Let him come and sit on the bed to eat. Ask him, does he want a plate? Give him the plate. Get back in the bed at the bottom of your side. Again, don't cross him. She said, when he belches, don't say nothing. Get up from the bottom of your bed again. Grab the plate. Put it in the sink. And wait. Let's see what happens. She said he's going to leave. And when he does, sweep out the door behind him, slam it shut, and bolt lock and do all the locks on the door. Walk away from it, turn your back on it. And that's it. He ain't coming back. I said, Grandma, hey, what? This man, I'm married to this man. This man is living here. I done tried to get this man out of here several times. This man would like not go. Even after I slept with his side piece. Anyway, well, rewind. We're gonna go back to what we was talking about. That's another story time. So I said, Grandma, I don't. She said, do what I said, babe. Do what I said. She was like, let me tell you. She said, God told me that boy was hurting you, and I got instructions on what to tell you to do to get him up out of there. He gotta go. So I said, okay. He came home from fake work because his boss had already called me and told me he didn't come in and that he was terminating him, which means that he was cheating all day, which I didn't care about by this point, but I just wanted him out of my house. I was being terrorized by all of these demons, these spirits that he had up in there running rampant and all kinds of stuff. Like me and him and I would be intimate, and I would be waking up and he's watching other stuff on the floor. And I'm like, we just did something. What is wrong with you? Like, it was clearly something off from him, because when he would hit me or do different things, his eyes were black, all kinds of stuff. And I'm like, this man, I knew he was possessed. I knew it. I did. But I was like, I didn't know what to do or how to get him out necessarily. You know, I knew how to keep them at bay, keep them away from me and my daughter. But at the most part, I didn't know how to get him out. Okay. So he comes home. He comes home. He's like, hey, babe. I'm like, hey, what's up? You know, whatever, acting regular. You know, he gets on his side of the bed. He sits down, and then he tries to lay back. He lays back, but then he like gets really uncomfortable. So it's like he could not get comfortable. He was laying on a pillow. Then he sat up real quick. He's like, and I said, what's wrong? Your back hurt or something? You had a rough day at work? Knowing he wasn't at no damn job. But, you know, he's like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. All of a sudden, we ought to get a new bed. I was like, maybe, I guess, whatever. I said, you hungry? He said, yeah. I said, okay. Went and made him some, because he likes spaghetti so much. So I went and I made him some of that spaghetti, that prayed over, that conjured spaghetti, put it in the bowl, handed him the bowl, walked back over on the bottom, and I crossed over. He said, why you ain't just get in from this side? I said, no, it's all right. You know, I was like, you had a rough day. And plus, I'm about to hop back out anyway, because I got to do blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay. So I'm laying on my side of the bed, and then something just said, get up. So I get up, I go in the kitchen, wash dishes, because me and my daughter had ate. You know what I'm saying? She didn't say we couldn't eat the food with the blessed oil in it, you know, because that's, you know, blessed oil or whatever. So we was fine. So we ate that, and we was fine. Everything was good. he finished the food fat, like he was eating real quick, like, shoveling it in his mouth. And I'm looking like, what she said he was gonna burp. So I'm like, girl, when I tell you, this Negroid was like, I felt like the vibration shaking. He felt so hard, like it felt like it was from the pit of his belly, and it stunk so bad. I was like, ew. So I was like, oh wow. You want something to drink? He was like, nah, I'm good. That was good. I said, you done? He said, yeah. So I walk over, grab the little bowl again, take it in the kitchen and start washing it. Now he laying down on the bed. This time he lays down, he hops back up. He's sitting there. And then he just looking around and he's like, why this man get up, run over to his clothes, grab something, didn't even put his shoes on. He just grabbed his shoes and ran out the house barefoot and was looking behind him. I'm like, what the heck? So then I almost forgot that my grandmother told me to slam the door, lock it, and sweep out the door, lock it. And you know what I'm saying? I had already put the broom by the door because I was like, okay, now I got to do it how she say to do it. You know what I'm saying? So it could work. So I grabbed the broom real quick because I almost forgot, and I slammed the door, locked it, and went on about my business. So I called her. She said he left. I said, yeah. She said, mm-hmm. She was like, so now clean your house and anoint your walls and pray over your house and put your protections up. Okay. Which I normally did also, because she would come and cleanse our homes, pray over our homes, anoint our walls. If there was some energy in there, she'd tell her to get up out of there, switch over ownership of the house and stuff, which I now know is a house cleansing, whatever. So I, basically get my pine sol, you know what I'm saying? Pour my blessed oil in there, anoint my doors and pray for protection. No negative energy could come in here. No demons are allowed in here. It's gonna be peace in this home and happiness and prosperity in this home. And I'm talking about, I went to church, honey. We went full prayer warrior up in there because once that nigga left, what? Oh, I was happy. I was like, oh my God, I ain't gotta go through none of this no more, because he kept continually violating. After the time where he roofied me, I'm telling y'all, I found that out too. So I do what she says. I'm out the floor. I'm listening to music. I'm listening to gospel music. Me and my daughter having a good old time playing on the floor, this, that, and the third. A week goes by. I don't hear nothing from him for a week. Phone rings. I answer the phone. It's him. I said, hello. I was like, you got some nerve calling me after a week. He said, I just had to tell you something. I said, what happened? He said, that time where you was drinking at that house, I put this drink in your, I put this drug in your drink. They said that make you, pass out, so I could do something with you. I said, what? He said, I don't know, it's called roofie or something. I said, oh, you roofie me. Okay. I said, all right. I said, okay, is that it? He was like, I mean, I didn't mean to just leave like that, but I felt like something was telling me to leave. My feet were burning, and I was told to get out, that I do not belong there, and if I stay, I'm going to die. So I said, what? For real? I was like, what? That's crazy. Wonder why that happened. He said, I was sick for a couple of days after I left too. He was like, I don't know if the meat was bad in the food or what. I was like, no, I was like, me and my baby fine. I don't know what to tell you. He said, well, anyway, I just wanted to tell you that, and and I just wanted to say sorry, but I ain't coming back. I'm not coming back in here. I can't come back in here. I said, okay, that's fine. And I hung up the phone. And I went on about my business. Probably a couple months passed. Well, no, about a year. And I was moved on, honey. Had got a divorce. We're not even gonna ask how that happened. Got a divorce. moved on, was then pregnant with my second daughter by my second fiance. Getting ready to, have her. And his family pulled up in front of my house. And I said, what's going on? So they were asking me if my oldest daughter had been touched or violated. I said, no. Rewind though. When he left, Spirit told me to go and have her checked and make sure she hadn't been tampered with. And I never understood why, because he never even he just seemed like he loved her, like really loved her, like she was his own. So I was like, I didn't see him do anything. And I listened to my grandmother. I didn't leave her alone with him. And the one time I did go upstairs for a couple minutes, he would not change her diaper. Like, she was pissy when I came back. He would not even change her diaper. He was that afraid to even touch her. So I was like, no. I was like, but I took her to the doctor. They were like, well, what made you do that? I said, I don't know. I just felt like I needed to for my sanity. I was like, she's fine. I was like, why are you asking me this? They said he just got locked up. He just turned himself in for molesting a 3-year-old girl in Kentucky, because he went all the way to Kentucky from New York. Okay. Like, whatever it was that my grandma, listen, baby, that thing was powerful, because that Negro went to Kentucky and basically molested this little girl and turned himself in. But before that, wait a minute, hold up. No, I'm skipping a part. So when I got the divorce, I was pregnant and he had gotten locked up. He called me and told me it was for he stole a bike or something. He got locked up. When he got out, he came to visit. Let me tell you how this man, whatever was on the inside of him, started being on the outside after that prayer, or after that exorcism and all of that, because he looked horrible. When I tell you, he was missing a tooth. He was a very handsome man before that. He was missing a tooth in the front. His skin looked like alligator skin. His hair looked crazy. I was just like, oh, he just looked filthy. I was like, oh. So I said to him, you're divorced. He's like, oh, I am. I said, yeah. He didn't act. He did not. He knew he was not right. So he didn't even ask. I said, come on, come get your paper. He was like, I'll stand out here. You can bring it. I said, nigga, I'm pregnant. I mean, excuse me, N-word, I'm pregnant. And I'm not coming back up these stairs. So you're going to have to come get it. Honey, he come in the house. He is shuffling he's shuffling. He can't be comfortable. His feet is he got his hands in his pocket. He shook. And I'm like, here, I give him the paper. He's like, okay, thank you. And he leaves. But then again, I was like, oh no, we need you not to come back. So guess what I did? I swept again and I slammed it up because the scriptures were still under the bed. So that was it. And then that's when his family came and was asking me all these questions and told me that basically he had molested a 3-year-old girl, brainwashed her. The mother was on drugs and all that stuff. They was taking a little girl and they was trying to make sure that he hadn't done nothing to me, because they couldn't live with themselves, because they were supposed to tell me that he had a history of doing things to little girls. I was wondering why they always acted so funny around him, but nobody said anything. So I said, but they were like, well, we thought because he was younger that he was just being mannish, and we spoke to him about it, and we just never let her be around him anymore. But we didn't think nothing of it. So basically, he had gotten 20 years. I don't even know if he's still in there, because he tried to call me after that. He didn't know that his family has told me, and I gave him a very specific premonition that if he ever contacted me or my daughter or anybody ever again, honey, it was going to be curtains for him, and I was going to call the cops on my kids. I'm just saying. But he, that's what I heard. It was 20 something years that he got. Now, I don't know what happened to the little girl. I really wish I was able to find out that information, because to try to just be there for her, because that's so hard. I'm so grateful that my grandmother was gifted, because she literally probably is the only reason why my child did not have that situation happen with her. And I'm glad I listened to Spirit, because I would have been thinking that he had done that if had I not listened and went to the doctor and had her checked. The doctor was even like, "Why would you do that?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I was married to somebody that was doing this to me, and I want to make sure that he didn't try to do nothing like that to my baby." Like, So that is what happened. Like I said, guys, I hope that you can play this back as many times as you need to get those scriptures. But if any of you are in that kind of situation and you feel like you don't know what to do, this is one thing to do. And then also, I want to encourage you to go to therapy. I want to encourage you to get some healing, to go to the domestic violence shelter in your local neighborhood. You could type it up, it will come up. I'm going to leave a number here for the domestic hotline or those who may have been violated sexually. I really love you all. And I hope that me telling this story, which is what Spirit told me telling this story will help somebody else be able to get out of it or know that they can get out of it. I love you guys so much. And until next time, peace. If you or someone you know has been the victim of any kind of domestic violence, please contact the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233. If anyone you know has been a victim of sexual assault in any way, shape, form, or fashion, please contact the RAIN organization at 1-800-656-HOPE. Please know that none of this is your fault and that you will get through this. I love you.